what's up, and welcome back to the channel for yet another FC Finch review. And it is Eaglemoss Day back here on the channel. And yeah, we're going to do an oldie but a goodie. Not just an oldie in terms of its place in the collection, issue number 69 of 180, but also an oldie in terms of this has been on my shelf for quite a while. I forget, I got this back, oh god, probably 4 or 5 years ago. So we're going to take a look at it today. It is, of course, the Breen Warship. And while it is unclassed in the magazine, it is actually referred to as the Gore Tan class, I do believe. So we're going to take a look at it today. And yeah, this is a pretty insane little model, especially how little we see of the ship. But of course, we all know that that's Eaglemoss' specialty. And we're going to get right into the magazine because that's the first thing we do when we do these reviews. So I'm going to move the ship out of the way. And ooh, I knocked my little work desk here because my new review station is very small. Star Trek, the official Starships collection. Of course, we have a nice underside shot of the Breen Warship. Got its little weapon right there at the bottom. It is a warship launched in the 24th century, a small guy at a length of 330 meters and an energy dampener weapon. And of course, we have our typical stand instructions. We have the table of contents, Breen Warship, designing the ship, creating the Breen, and on screen. And of course, the Breen, for those who don't know, they are from Deep Space Nine. The last 8 episodes, I believe, is when they came in. And they're the ones dressed like the Princess Leia alien costume from Return of the Jedi. The ship is operated by the Breen Confederacy. It is a warship in the 24th century. Hey, we just read that. 330 meters, high warp speed, and energy dampener. It has torpedoes and is captained by Thought Gore. And there we have yet another nice shot of the Breen Warship. Such a weird ship. In fact, I think this can win an argument for one of the most alien-looking ships in Star Trek. It's the Breen Warship, and a highly unusual, irregular design that features a powerful energy-dampening weapon. Of course, you all know that was the weapon that disabled most of the Federation fleet. And then, of course, we have many shots from the last 8 episodes of Deep Space Nine, the 8-parter, I do believe. And then, of course, we have the Defiant getting hit by the weapon. Very sad moment, the Defiant getting destroyed. And then we have our orthographic shots. Looks really cool. It's just so the ship looks like a space station, kind of. When you see, well, you know, when you see it from these angles, she just never looks symmetrical at all. It's very, very cool. Again, one of the more alien-looking ships. And there, of course, we have designing the Breen Warship, and there we see that it started out as a somewhat different design. In fact, I could see this early design as a different class of Breen Warship. And of course, then we have more design features, and then of course the Breen ship getting more prongs and whatnot. And I can see these all as definite Breen designs if they would ever make a game of it. And of course, we have more of the Breen Warship finishing out as she was. And again, just look at this bizarre ship. Just looks so different from every angle. I absolutely love it. Really, really cool. And there we have creating the Breen, and of course a few episodes with the Breen and the female changeling. And then of course we have Kira Nerys in her changeling outfit, or her Breen outfit. And there we have the Breen against the Defiant. And lastly but not leastly, we have a nice upper or lower or whatever orthographic view of the Breen Warship. So let's do our stand instructions real quick, and it is like every other Eaglemoss typical stand. You just put the square peg into the rectangular hole, and then you put the ship. It's just going to connect on its little 2 nacelle prongs here, and it's just going to go right in here. And it sits very nice and firmly, and it kind of has an upward stance like it's going off into outer space. And we can take a look at the ship because that is it for the stand. And yeah, so first impressions, the ship was kind of a dull color, and I mean that the ship itself felt kind of dull, especially the model, and it almost feels like kind of a toy almost than an actual model for display, which is weird. But again, one of the things I do like is it does have a lot of detail, a lot of color usage, which is a vast difference from what we see in Federation ships. So this looks really, really cool. Again, just look at all these prongs. Look, it's so unsymmetrical. It's like it's so weird. What could have been the inspiration for a ship like this? It started like it looks like they started with this central boomerang structure and just kind of branched outward. You see, it's got all these different levels, different twists and turns. It doesn't look the same from any angle. It's just really interesting. What a ship! So it looks like we got some. This being the thruster, we got some red on the thrusters back here, and some nice gold detailing. Tons of detail detail, tons of colors, tons of depth on this model. Even got a little bit of orange here, just for measure. And again, you got some hidden details right here in the central structure. They're kind of grilled in there. And again, it just, the variance of details on the ship is really cool and really interesting. Lots of depth. You got a lot of molded detail in the forward areas. I believe these might be the cannons or whatever. And you got a lot of molded detail. Just look at that around. And then of course you have up here, and looks like the control center. You got like maybe a shuttle bay back here. Not sure about that idea. Again, it's probably in the magazine. And coming to the bottom, of course, you see the energy dampening weapon from the bottom. And again, tons of detail on the bottom, especially interesting for an area you'll never see. This is interesting too. You got some gappage down here, which is really cool. Again, this ship sits upright in the model, so unless you flip it over like this, you're never treated to this detail. Just a little bit more depth for you. Again, just really, really cool. You get more of the orange down here. Lots. I love how much colors packed in this. You got some yellow for the, I believe these are the rear of the nacelles, quite potentially. So you got some yellows back here, looking good. Some molded detail down here in the green. And then, of course, you got some gold detail over here, like puke detail. Again, more molded detail in the green. Again, just really, really cool. Like, the ship is never void of detail. Just a really nice, interesting color palette, really nice, interesting shape. It does actually have a bit of weight to it. Not sure if there's any die cast. I mean, there might be a little bit, or if it's just like the weight of all these structures. And it feels very solid. Like, nothing feels bendy or anything like that. It was made of good plastic. Again, I think maybe just a more metallic hue might make this thing feel more premium, because the color, the dull colors kind of make it feel like a toy. But other than that, I mean, this is a really, definitely a cool little model, especially with all the depth and the design of the ship. So really, really good looking. And for a couple quick comparisons, let's get it up here with the USS Defiant. And of course, we all know this is definitely not the scale. It's about twice the size of the Defiant, a little over that. But definitely they got the similar slim profiles. So you can see how that looks. But definitely just two very different schools of design. Again, I love it because it looks so vastly different from the Federation ship. So really, really cool. And lastly, we'll get it in with one of its Dominion brothers, the Cardassian Keldon class. And there we have a look at the size. I think this is a bit more to scale in terms of length anyway. I believe the Cardassian class was around 300 meters or so. So again, this looks a bit more lengthwise to the scale. And again, just so vastly different schools of thought and schools of design. So really interesting. So let's summarize. And there we have it for the Eaglemoss Official Starships Collection, issue number 69, the Breen Warship, the Gortan class, if you will. And yeah, once again, this is one of those ships, and I say it over and over again, you don't see it really all that much in Deep Space Nine. Again, it gets mostly a lot of the battle clips, and it's all mashed into those last 8 episodes, and that's really all we see of these Breen warships. So it's so cool, again, that Eaglemoss makes a model of this. And aside from the dull colors, this model has a really solid feel, lots of nicely done details, and a really interesting color palette. So it does feel a little bit like a toy, but overall I think it's definitely a very solid model and very much worthy of having a spot in your collection or anyone's collection, especially if you're a fan of the ships that really look like alien ships. And you can argue that this is probably one of the most alien looking ships in Star Trek. And that being said, I did get this model from Eaglemoss. You could of course check out Master Replicas or realmerch.com. I'll put a link to Master Replicas in the description below, so you could check that out. If you found this review fun and informative, please consider hitting the like button also down below. Everything's down below. There's a pattern going on here. That definitely helps me out, and it's always good to feel the love. And that being said, if you're not currently subscribed, do consider subscribing to my channel. Guess what? It's also down below. And that will, of course, also help me out. I'm about 425 or so subscribers, so it's all good to be growing, and I enjoy this nonetheless. It's good to have you people along with this journey of mine, this fun little journey. And I try to do Eaglemoss ships about 2 to 3 times a week, so you'll get to enjoy that as well and see if there's something you may want to buy from some Eaglemoss for yourself. That being said, this is going to conclude this review. I have been SC Finch. Thank you so much for watching. Live long and prosper.